Welcome to today's deep dive. What if the reason you can't seem to master that new language or learn that new instrument or even nail that new software at work? What if it has absolutely nothing to do with your study habits?
Right, which is completely counterintuitive to how we're usually taught to learn.
Exactly. I mean, today's mission is really looking at this hidden soundtrack playing in your head while you learn. We're examining an audio source from an English learning program, and it actually unlocks this universal truth about how humans acquire basically any new skill.
Yeah, and it's a dynamic we see across almost every field of human performance. The source material is a narrative episode called The Power of Positivity, Fluency Through Mindset.
Such a good title.
It really is. And it centers on this fascinating case study of a learner named Lily. But, while her specific goal is language fluency, our focus today is broader. We're looking at how our internal monologue literally dictates our external success.
Yeah, because when you think about acquiring a new skill, it's so tempting to treat it like building a house, you know?
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. Like you naturally obsess over the tangible materials, the grammar rules, the vocabulary, maybe the coding syntax if you're in tech. Those are your bricks.
Your building blocks. Yeah.
And you spend all this time trying to stack those bricks perfectly. But if we only focus on the bricks, we're completely ignoring the concrete foundation. Your mindset, that quiet conversation you have with yourself every single day, that's the foundation.
And if that foundation is cracked, right, if it's shifting around.
It doesn't matter how premium your bricks are. That house is coming down.
Totally. Which brings us directly to Lily's situation, because to understand how to fix the foundation, we kind of first have to see what a cracked one looks like in practice.
Right, so let's introduce Lily.
So Lily is a 28-year-old customer service rep, and she is incredibly ambitious. She wants a management promotion. She wants to travel internationally. And the gatekeeper to all of those goals is English fluency.
So the stakes are high for her.
Very high. And she is putting in the hours. Every night after work, she's at her desk doing grammar drills, reviewing flashcards, watching instructional videos.
So she has the discipline down cold.
She does. But there is this invisible barrier. While she's, highlighting her textbooks, she has this quiet, persistent soundtrack playing in the background.
The cracked foundation.
Exactly. Whenever she stumbles on a pronunciation, she quietly mutters, "I'm terrible at English." When she forgets a word, it's always, "Everyone else learns faster than I do."
Oh, wow. So she's meticulously studying the language, but she's simultaneously practicing her own failure.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And that internal practice culminates in a very specific, very painful breakdown for her.
Oh, no. When does this happen?
It happens on a Monday morning during an online conversation class. The instructor turns to Lily and asks this incredibly basic, completely predictable question. They ask, "What did you do last weekend?"
Wait, really? That's week one stuff.
I know it is. She even knew the question was coming. She had mentally rehearsed her answer before logging on. But the moment the spotlight hits her, she completely freezes.
Like a deer in headlights.
Literally. Her mind just goes blank. She starts stuttering, profusely apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry, my English isn't very good."
Oh, that is so rough.
The teacher tries to gently coax her through it, but the psychological damage for the day is already done. On the bus ride home, she is just drowning in intense embarrassment, replaying every single error on an endless loop.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, though, because freezing up on a basic question like, "What did you do last weekend?" That really sounds like a fundamental gap in her training, doesn't it?
You think so, yeah.
Because the traditional advice here is just, well, study harder. Like, is grammar really secondary to mindset? Shouldn't she just drill those past tense verbs until they're muscle memory? It's like she's trying to run a marathon, but she's wearing a backpack full of rocks. And the rocks are her negative thoughts. But still, shouldn't she just train harder?
What's fascinating here is that it's not actually a storage problem. It's a retrieval problem. In linguistics, there's a concept called the affective filter.
The affective filter. Okay.
Yeah. Think of it as an invisible psychological shield. When a learner experiences high anxiety or stress or just a lack of self-confidence, this filter goes up and literally blocks the brain's ability to process or retrieve the language.
Wait, really? It physically blocks it?
Neurologically, yes. Her brain has the vocabulary filed away, but the anxiety triggers the amygdala, which is the brain's threat detection center.
Ah, so her brain is treating a simple conversation class like she's suddenly being chased by a bear or something.
Precisely. The amygdala hijacks the prefrontal cortex, which is where complex thought and memory retrieval happen.
Okay, so when you constantly tell yourself you're terrible at something.
You're actively programming your brain to perceive performance as a high-stakes threat. The cognitive load of constantly judging yourself leaves almost zero processing power for actually forming a sentence.
Right. It's like, okay, it's like she's trying to run a really high-demand app on her smartphone, like a heavy video editing program, but her phone's battery is draining incredibly fast because she has 50 background apps open.
Exactly.
And those background apps are just constantly calculating her insecurities. So the language app isn't broken. She just has no processing power left to run it.
That is a perfect way to look at it. And notice what happens after the class. Her brain filters her memory of the event to match her negative internal narrative.
Oh, because she only remembers the mistakes on the bus ride home.
Right. She remembers every mistake vividly, but she completely forgets any sentence she actually got right. She's basically experiencing confirmation bias against herself.
Man, that is a heavy backpack of rocks.
Yeah.
And recognizing the problem is one thing, but figuring out how to take the backpack off, that requires a complete shift in perspective.
Which brings us to a quiet Saturday afternoon in a bookstore.
Right, so she's not even looking for study materials, right?
No, she's just browsing, trying to decompress. And she pulls this book off the shelf that radically shifts her entire paradigm. It's The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah.
He's a well-known researcher in positive psychology.
Yeah, exactly. She opens in the first chapter, and a specific quote just stops her dead in her tracks.
Let me guess. Success doesn't create happiness. Happiness helps create success.
The one.
See, okay, I really have to question this logic deeply, though. Logically, doesn't it go the other way around?
How do you mean?
I mean, that sounds great on a motivational poster, sure. But functionally, shouldn't we be happy only once we achieve the goal? Like, shouldn't she only feel confident when she can speak perfectly without making grammatical errors?
And that assumption right there is exactly what keeps so many learners trapped.
Really?
Yeah. We tell ourselves, I'll be confident when I finally start making mistakes. But human communication is never perfectly flawless, especially not in a second language.
I guess that's true. Even native speakers mess up all the time.
Exactly. If you tie your confidence to perfection, you've created a moving goalpost. You guarantee you'll never actually feel confident.
And if you never feel confident, your affective filter stays up.
Right. And your brain stays stuck in that survival mode. The source's definition of positivity here is crucial. It isn't about ignoring problems or pretending life is perfect.
It's not toxic positivity.
No, not at all. True positivity here means viewing every challenge as a learning opportunity. It's fundamentally redefining your relationship with failure.
So by waiting for perfection to grant herself permission to be confident, she was actively blocking the mental state she needed to learn in the first place.
That's the trap. But a profound realization in a bookstore is basically useless without a practical system to actually implement it.
Right, you can't just think your way into a new mindset. You have to act your way into it. So this leads directly into the specific daily routines Lily creates to rewire her brain.
And this is where the theory becomes highly actionable. She implements 4 specific micro-habits to build her fluency through practice, not perfection.
Okay, let's break these down. The first one is a new morning routine, right?
Yeah. Before she even looks at her phone, she writes out 3 positive sentences in a notebook. Things like, I am improving every day. Mistakes help me learn, and today I will speak English with confidence.
And the case study notes how awkward this is for her at first. Like, she's writing it, but she totally doesn't believe it yet.
Which is completely normal neurologically. When you introduce a positive narrative that contradicts a deeply held negative belief, your brain experiences cognitive dissonance.
It rejects it.
Exactly. But by forcing herself to write it and read it out loud every single morning, she's using repetition to carve a new neural pathway.
Okay, so that's habit 1. Habit 2 is about how she reads. She starts using short stories in English for beginners.
Right. But instead of rushing through, she slows way down. She imagines the characters, and then after every chapter, she forces herself to summarize the story out loud.
To an empty room.
Yep. And here's the key. When she inevitably messes up, she doesn't berate herself. She actively laughs at her own mistakes.
Wow, it's like exposure therapy for making errors.
Exactly. She's desensitizing herself to the panic of making a mistake.
Okay, but then we get to habit 3, which is her vocabulary practice. And I'm going to push back on this one.
Oh.
Yeah. So she uses English vocabulary in use, but she strictly limits herself to exactly 5 new words a day.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, only 5 words a day? For a 28-year-old trying to get a major promotion, isn't that far too slow? Like, why artificially bottleneck your progress when you could use flashcards to learn 50 words?
Because cramming 50 words relies entirely on shallow rote memorization. It sits in your short-term memory and then just evaporates.
But still, 5 words.
Think about what happens when a learner feels overwhelmed by a massive list. The negative self-talk creeps right back in. This is too hard. I'll never remember all this.
I see.
By restricting it to just 5 words, she completely eliminates the friction and the overwhelm that fuels her negative self-talk.
It's like she's microdosing her learning, choosing deep personal resonance over just shallow volume.
Exactly, because she doesn't just memorize the definition. She writes sentences tying those 5 words to deep personal emotions.
Like what?
Like, she'll create a sentence about her gratitude for her family or a childhood memory. By doing this, she bypasses rote memorization and anchors the knowledge in her own life.
Okay, that makes sense. It increases retention because it actually matters to her.
Exactly. It creates multiple neural connection points for a single word.
And then the 4th habit is her listening practice. She uses effortless English, and she just shadows the rhythm constantly.
Right. Walking, cooking, doing laundry. She mimics the intonation until it's muscle memory. Eventually, she hits that classic milestone.
She starts dreaming in the language.
Yes. That's when you know the new operating system is deeply embedded.
And what's so amazing is that as Lily's internal systems change, it begins to leak into her external world, shifting how she interacts with everyone else.
It really does. There's this wonderful unscripted moment at a cafe.
Oh, right, with the barista.
Yeah, the barista notices her changed demeanor and just casually points out this crucial human flaw. He says, we're usually kinder to strangers than we are to ourselves.
Which is so true. It's a huge blind spot.
Totally. And Lily takes that realization and applies it directly to her online conversation club.
Right. Before, she was ruthlessly judging herself. But now, when she sees her peers struggling, she smiles and tells them, take your time.
And notice the ripple effect there. By encouraging others, she's actively building her own confidence. Verbally expressing patience to them reinforces it in her own brain.
It reminds me so much of the oxygen mask principle on an airplane.
Oh, sure.
Secure your own mask before assisting others. By securing her own mindset, first treating herself with grace, she is finally able to project that confidence and grace outward to her peers.
And she's going to need all that confidence because the ultimate test arrives shortly after.
Right, the international visitors.
Her company announces that a group of senior executives from an international branch are visiting, and Lily volunteers to act as their liaison and welcome them in English.
Which is the exact same high-pressure spotlight that caused her to melt down just months ago.
Exactly. And to be clear, the old voice doesn't just magically vanish. It pops up. What if I make mistakes?
But now she has the new voice to counter it.
Yes. The new voice says, mistakes are part of learning. You are ready. So she navigates the interactions all day, and inevitably she forgets a crucial word in the middle of a sentence.
But she doesn't freeze this time.
Nope. She just laughs it off, pivots, and keeps going. And at the end of the day, she is specifically complimented on her excellent English.
And she just smiled at the compliment, not because her English was suddenly flawless.
Because it wasn't. She made mistakes.
Right. She smiled because she finally believed in herself. Like her journal reflection said, her greatest improvement wasn't pronunciation or vocabulary, it was her mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. The technical skills finally had a solid foundation.
So, synthesizing all this for you listening right now, what's the core takeaway? Positive people don't have easier lives or fewer challenges.
No, they simply choose a different response. They replace, I can't do this, with how can I learn this?
And they replace I failed with what did this experience teach me?
It's all about how your brain processes the data of a failure.
Absolutely. So to help you start making that shift, we're issuing the specific challenge from the source to you.
Tomorrow morning, before checking the news, before looking at your phone.
Write down 3 positive, true sentences about yourself and read them aloud.
Embrace the awkwardness. Do it anyway.
Just see how it shifts your processing power for the day. And I want to leave you with one final lingering thought inspired by this deep dive.
What's that?
Well, if our internal monologue shapes our reality and our potential as powerfully as it did for Lily, what other areas of your life, maybe your career, your relationships, your hobbies, are currently being limited by a quiet, negative conversation you don't even realize you're having with yourself every single day?
That is the most important conversation you'll ever have.
Exactly. It's time to pay attention to what you're actually saying.